this chapter is on number, and it will show you how to work with decimals and whole numbers, how to use estimation to check answers, and how to solve problems using decimals and whole numbers with and without a calculator. So the first section is on decimals. Let's have a look at this picture. What do the decimal numbers mean, and how would you say them? Okay, I'm sure for this one here, 7.51, that's £7.51. What else have we got? 1.362 kilograms, so you might be able to convert that into grams. And 3.30 hours from Luton. Okay, this one here, we don't normally say 3.30 hours. I'm assuming that this means 3.5 hours because there's 30 minutes in 1 hour, but this notation is actually not very correct. Okay, so would either write 3.5 hours or 3 hours and 30 minutes. Okay, in this lesson we need to, all the way through, we need to think about what happens when we multiply or divide by 1, 10, 100 and 1,000. Okay, so I'm going to go through an example. Okay, so if I choose a number, for example, 32. Okay, so I'm going to go through and I'm going to think about what happens if I multiply by 1. My answer is going to be the same. 32 times 1 is 32. Okay, how about if I now multiply by 10? So just think for a minute, what is 32 times 10? We get 320. Now if I multiply by 100, you should start seeing a pattern. We've got 3,200, and then if I multiply by 1,000, okay, so I've got 32,000. So these are all the multiplications. You should see that for each one, when we multiply by 10, we put 1 0 in the units column. Okay, so everything has moved across one place. So the 3 has gone from the tens column to the hundreds column. The 2 has gone from the units column to the tens column. Then there's no digits after that, so we put a 0 at the end. A similar thing happens for multiplying by 100 and also multiplying by 1,000, where we add 3 digits at the end. Okay, so let's have a think about division. So if we divide by 1, 32 divided by 1, I still have 32. If I divide by 10, I'm going to have 3.2. Divide by 100, I'm going to have 0.32, and then dividing by 1,000, I'm going to have 0.032. Okay, so for these ones you can see that the digits have all moved in the opposite direction, and we filled in the gaps with the zeros. Okay, and our decimal point needs to remain fixed. Okay, if we have a look at this one here, I've put a number there, but I want you to try your own. Okay, so choose your own number and then copy this spider diagram, and then you're just going to put in your answers. So if you chose 27, you're just going to have another arrow. 27 times 1 is 27. Okay, so press pause and complete this spider diagram for your own number. Okay, so just for another example, if I choose the number, let's stick with what we've had before, so 32. Okay, so my 30 is in the tens column, my 2 is in my units column. If I was to multiply that by 10, you'll see that the digits move to the left. Okay, so 3, 2, I have an empty space where my units column is, so I put in a 0. If I multiply that by 10 again, everything is going to move one place to the left. Okay, now I've got 2 gaps at the end, so I need to fill those with the zeros. Okay, and you can see that this is the same as timesing by 100. So 10 times 10 is the same as timesing by 100. Okay, if I go back to 32 and I want to divide by 10, my answer becomes 3.2. So the digits have just moved one place to the right. If I want to divide by 100, you can see my 3 was here and my 2 was here, so it's moved 2 places to the right, and the same thing with the 2. It went from the units column and it's moved 2 places to the hundredths column. Okay, so that's just so you can see what I was talking about previously. So when we multiply by 10, all the digits are moved one place to the left. When we multiply by 100, all the digits are moved 2 places to the left. Okay, so if you need to, you might want to jot that down. Okay, so let's have a look at this example. It says work out 3.5 times by 100. Okay, so if we have our 100 tens and units columns, okay, the decimal point stays in between the units and the tenths. Okay, that never moves. So our decimal point is here. So we've got 3.5 and I'm multiplying by 100, so that means that it needs to move 2 places to the left. Okay, so my number is getting bigger because we're multiplying by a whole number. Okay, so the 3 moves from the units 2 places to the hundreds. The 5 moves 2 places to the left, 2, so it ends up in the tens column. And now I've got a gap where the units column is, so I put in a 0. So 3.5 times by 100 is going to be 350. Okay, we've already seen what happens when we divide a number by 10, 100 and 1000. So it's just the digits are moving that many places to the right. Okay, so if we divide by 10, the digits are moved one place to the right. If we divide by 100, all the digits are moved 2 places to the right. So let's have a look at another example. So we want to work out 23 divided by 1000. So again, I've got my 100 tens and units table. So I've got 23 written in. If I'm dividing by 1000, I need to move 3 places to the right. Okay, so my 2, the 20, moves 2, 3 places to the right, and my 3 moves 2, 3 places to the right. Okay, so we need to fill in all the gaps. So we need to know that we've got 0 units and we've got 0 tenths. Okay, and then I've got 2 hundredths and then 3 thousandths. So my answer is going to be 0.023. Okay, can you try these questions for yourself? You can press pause and then I will put up the next questions when you're ready. The answers are at the end of the PowerPoint slide, so you can check your answers then. Okay, so press pause and then work through these questions. Okay, I'm going to just go through 1 or 2 of them, just to make sure that you're on the right track. So if I try 1e, so we've got 0.053 times by 100. If you need to, then draw out the 100 tens and units columns so you can see where our digits should go. So timesing by 100 means that my digits have to move 2 places to the left. Okay, so my number is going to get bigger. So we're going to have 5.3. Okay, so everything's moved 2 digits. So the 5 moves 2 places. The 3 moves 2 places. Okay, so it'll be 5.3. Let's try 1j. Okay, so we've got 0.045 divided by 10. So division means that we move to the right and my numbers are going to get smaller. So I've got to divide by 10 so it moves 1 place. So this 4 moves 1 place this way. Okay, and then the 5 moves 1 place again. Okay, so I'm going to have 0.0045. Okay, so for question 2, you need to fill in the missing operations in each case. So for example C, we've gone from 0.07 to 70. Okay, the number has increased, so we can say that it's times. And then you have to think, how many places has my 7 moved? So it's gone from here, 1, 2, 3 into the tens column. Okay, so that means that it's multiplying by 1000. Okay, here are some more questions. So you need to find the missing number in each case, which shouldn't be too difficult. For question 4, it says 10 squared means 10 times 10. Okay, and we know that is 100. 10 cubed means 10 times 10 times 10. So we're just timesing the number by itself 3 times. Okay, 10 times 10 is 100, times it by 10 again, we get 1000. So you need to copy and complete each of the following. So 10 to the power of 4 will mean 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and my answer is going to have 4 zeros at the end. Okay, so 10 times 10 is 100, 100 times 10 is 1000, 1000 times 10 is 10,000. Okay, so there's my 10,000. So you need to do a similar thing for 10 to the 5 and then 10 to the 6. So press pause and answer these questions. And again, the answers will be at the end of the PowerPoint slide. Okay, so here is the next question. You're going to use those numbers that you've just written down to work out these questions. So 10 squared, we know that that is 100, so it's 3.5 times by 100. Okay, so you're going to go through, you'll have to convert the 10 with the power, so 10 squared, 10 cubed, 10 to the 4. Okay, so you need to convert that and then work out the answers. So for example, if I go through, let's go through G. This is 5G. So we have got 3.5 divided by 10 squared. So just so that I don't make any mistakes, I'm going to write that again. 3.5 divided by, and then I'm going to convert this number here. So that is 100. Now I can answer the question as I would before. So remember, dividing by anything means that our digits move to the right. Okay, so we're dividing by 100, so we're moving 2 places to the right. So the 3 is going to go 1, 2. So it's the second place after the decimal point. 0.035. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, so press pause and answer these questions. And then when you are ready, you can press play and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, there's a extension question here, and it's asking you to design a poster to clearly explain how to multiply and or divide a number by a power of 10. So, for example, 10 cubed, 10 to the 5, and so on. Okay, you can do this on an A4 sheet of paper if you want, and it's just to consolidate the ideas in your mind and just to make sure that you do understand what we have learnt today. Okay. Okay, here are the answers to the questions. So you can press pause and just go through and mark your work. So it's from questions 1 to 5. And then we're going to just quickly have a few questions to finish off, and then you will be able to see the homework at the end. Okay, so just press pause and answer and mark your work. Okay, so to finish off, just some quick fire questions. You do not need to pause. You just need to try and answer them as quickly as you can, and I'll give you about 20-30 seconds to answer them, but they shouldn't be too difficult. Okay, so this one says put these numbers together using a multiplier or a divisor. Okay, so we want this number, 3.4, to go to 3,400. So how do we go from 3.4 to 3,400? Okay, and the answer is timesing by 1,000. Okay, the next one, 0.72, and this number goes to 7.2. So from 0.72 to 7.2, are we multiplying or dividing, and then by how much? Okay, and the answer is timesing by 10. Let's try this next one, 0.005 going to 50. Okay, the answer is timesing by 1,000. The next one, 5,324 going to 53.24. Okay, the answer is dividing by 100. Next one, 152 going to 0.00152. Okay, and the answer is dividing, and you can see that we have moved, so I'm going to just go through this one. We have moved, so our decimal point originally was here, okay, and my 2 has moved 1, 2, 3, so it was here, the 2 was here, and it's moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it's moved 5 places to the right, so we know it's divide, and we're dividing by this number here. Okay, so 100,000, there's 5 zeros at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it's dividing by 100,000. Here is the homework. Okay, so it's all a similar thing to what we've been doing in the lesson, but it just gives you some more practice. Okay, so just a quick recap on what we've done. By now we should be able to understand and use decimal notation and place value. Okay, and don't forget to use your place value table, so your 100, tens and units table if you need to multiply and divide numbers. Okay, and then we should know how to multiply and divide integers and decimals by 10, 100 and 1,000 and explain the effect.